Hey guys, welcome back to Monday Gunday. Today we have episode 8. Can you believe it? Already episode 8. Today we will be reviewing the brand new Springfield Echelon. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of reviews out there and a lot being posted around about this gun, but we are going to do that anyways. Let's get right into it. This gun is brand new, obviously released this year. If you're watching in 2023, that information is correct. And when you see it initially, you're just like, oh, it's just another polymer striker fired pistol. Well, there's a lot of cool things about this gun. And me personally, I was very surprised once I got my hands on it and went out to the range to shoot it. It's not a perfect gun by any means, but it was pleasantly surprising to me. Let's get into some of the features and some of the stats about this gun. When Springfield made this gun, they did a lot of cool things, and they have a few neat patent pending features that we will talk about. To set this apart from other striker fired pistols, they decided to go with a stainless steel firing group, stainless steel chassis. That is the serialized part, and that is where the trigger is located. You can take that out of the frame, take the slide and frame off, and that is your firearm piece, which is pretty cool because then you can move it to different frames and different configurations. There are 3 grip sizes available with this gun, which is another cool feature. This one in particular is the medium grip size. We also have a small available, which is much too thin and narrow for my preferences. I have large hands. And there are also 3 back straps, different size back straps, kind of palm swells here that you can interchange very easily. I have the large on the medium frame. I would like to try the large on the large frame. I think that would probably be pretty nice for big hands, but this is what we had to work with, so this is what we're doing. Another cool thing that they did with this gun is their optic system. So this comes optic ready right out of the box, which is, in my opinion, a must for 2023, and any modern gun should have that option. What's cool about this is it comes with a bunch of different little insert pieces, little pins that line up with a hole pattern under this optic plate, depending on which optic you want to mount there. And I believe when I was reading up on this gun, there were around 30 or more different optics that you could use right out of the box with this gun. It comes with everything you need to go, so that's awesome. Pretty much any standard modern optic that you want to throw on here, you can right away. And another cool feature about that is it doesn't require any adapter plates, which is a gripe a lot of people have about slide cuts and things, is if they have a certain type of optic, they have to use a 1/8 inch mounting plate, which brings the optic up higher, and then there's screws to secure the mounting plate, and then screws to secure the optic to the mounting plate, and a lot going on there, and it's not ideal. This is cool because they use these sort of locking pins as you torque down the optic correctly to spec. They actually exert lateral pressure toward the inside of the optic, further securing and locking it in place. So as you tighten it down, it really locks it in place. And it's kind of a cool feature. This one did come with a Trijicon RMR. We took it off for the video because we wanted to stick with these iron sights. And it came with the Surefire X300. And came with a lot of other stuff. This is not our company gun or a personal gun of mine. We are in no way affiliated with Springfield. This is a friend's gun, and he got kind of the exclusive launch edition feature box whole display that you've probably seen on the internet. So a lot of cool things going on with this gun, and it is nicely customizable to what you have in your hand size and all those good things. So those are some of the cool patent pending features, and it's worth noting that this is also fully ambidextrous, mag release and slide release, both sides, and ergonomics are generally pretty good with this gun. So let's get into cost. What are you looking at getting into this gun? This particular firearm with the tritium front sight and the U-notch rear sight. No threaded barrel. This one is going to retail for an MSRP of around $679, but there are a couple other packages you can get. You can get full 3-dot tritium, you can get a threaded barrel, and those might bump it up to around the $740 range. So still, all things considered, pretty affordable. You most likely can pick these up for even cheaper than that from retailers. But all in all, well under 700 bucks for this setup, minus the light, obviously. The weight of this gun is 23.9 ounces, unloaded with the flush 17-round magazine. It also does come with an extended 20-round magazine, which is pretty cool, but it only comes with 2 total magazines, so that's kind of lame. I would like 3. Honestly, maybe 4 or 5, 6. Start sending guns with 6 or 7 magazines, that would be sick. The height of the gun is 5.5 inches with the flush magazine, about 1 inch longer with the extended magazine in there. The length is 8 inches, minus the light, obviously, with a 4.5 inch barrel. And this is a 1 in 10 twist 9mm barrel. Width is, at the widest point of the grip, it is 1.2 inches. And like I mentioned before, 17+1 standard capacity, comes with a 20+1 spare mag. So there it is. Super excited to shoot this. It's got cool serrations and features. It's got this little ledge at the back, you know, for more dexterity when trying to manipulate the slide. It does have interesting slide release or slide stop levers. Initially looking at those, I'm not too sure if I like those, but overall, should be a good gun. Let's go to the range and we'll run through our 3 standard drills and see how this gun shoots. Okay, made it out to the range with the Echelon. We got the X300 Ultra on here using the MSP Flex holster. Gonna run through our 3 standard drills, a back-to-back bill drill at 7, a back-to-back 3 reload 3 at 7, and then a 10-yard B8 for score. So let's get right into it. As always, from concealment. Stand by. That was a 224 and I pulled 2 shots just left of the A zone. We'll run it again. Stand by. .236, all clean. Let's take a look at the target real quick. So these 2 were on my first string of fire, but the rest is clean. That really isn't acceptable. I slowed down on the second one just to over confirm, but let's jump right into the reload. We'll set this one up to go from slide lock so we can work that slide release and the reload. Again, A zone here. Stand by. Okay, that was a 436, all clean. That one felt nice. No mag wall on this, so that's a little surprising, but we'll take it. Set it up again with 3 rounds in the gun. Okay. Stand by. That one was a little sloppier, 474, but all clean again. Just didn't feel like I had as good of a grip on my first presentation. And the reload, I kind of fumbled it for a split second, but all clean. So now we'll go back to the 10 and put up a B8 and go for a score on that one. So far, this gun's feeling good. I like the ergonomics and the feel of the gun. Trigger's decent, everything's looking good. Now we're really gonna check the trigger and the sights at 10 on the B8, hopefully getting everything in the X and 10 ring for a perfect score. But we'll see. I noticed my shots are a little high at 7 and 10, just warming up. Again, all things considered, I have barely 3 mags through this gun ever, so that could just be me, but I'm kind of like lollipopping it, as they say, so impacts at 7 and 10 are just above the front sight post when everything's lined up, you know, equal height, equal light. So we'll see how true that plays out with 10 rounds here. Once again, no time limit. I think that worked out pretty well. I was taking that into account while aiming. I could see the X on the target for each shot. So my irons were aimed about here. Normally I would cover up that with the front sight post, but I'm about here. So that is a perfect score. I was stacking a lot of those rounds on top of each other. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then there's probably another one in there. 10. That's pretty good accuracy. Initially, I was not a fan of these iron sights. They seem kind of big, blocky. You don't get a lot of vision and anything super crisp. I typically prefer different types of iron sights, but proved to be accurate still. And trigger's not bad, you know. It's a stock gun, it's an affordable gun, but the trigger is nice and you can do a lot with it. So that's cool. Let's take it back to the armory and we will tally up our scores. Okay, we are back, and as you could see, we are running out of the MSP Flex holster. This is the, in my opinion, the best holster option right now that we have for this gun. You need a weapon light on there, and it has a flexible attached spare magazine carrier. And this thing worked really well running through our drills at the range. We should have some specific Echelon holster options available soon for light bearing or non-light bearing, and we will get to more variations of that as time goes on. But let's get into our scoring system. Like I mentioned at the range, this gun I thought shot pretty well, and I was surprised by it. Our first category that we will score this on is cost. I gave this an 8 for cost. It is exactly at the MSRP as the Canik SFX Rival that I reviewed a few weeks ago, and I gave that a score of an 8. So I will also give this one a score of an 8 for cost. It's pretty affordable. It's not crazy expensive just because it's new, and I think for what it is, that's a fairly appropriate cost. So it's an 8. Ergonomics. This score is also an 8 for ergonomics. It feels good, and I like how you can get really customizable grip options and really fine tune that into your hand size and what exactly you like in there. The slide has all these cuts and serrations. The sledge on the back, it's easy to manipulate, and actually shooting it, working reloads and throwing that slide back home, this really thin, kind of awkward slide release lever worked well. It worked well. It didn't feel weird. Didn't feel out of place. So that works. And you know, the magazine release also very functional. Trigger. This has a cool looking trigger. However, it leaves you wanting a lot more out of a trigger, especially for a brand new gun that has had all the hype put on it. It is not a great trigger. It's not a terrible trigger though. I gave it a score of a 7. It needs some work for sure. It's better than a lot of out-of-the-box triggers, but it's also worse than a lot of out-of-the-box triggers. Reset isn't bad, and overall feel of it is good. There's not a whole lot of extra play in there, which is nice, but could definitely be better. Bore axis. I feel like this was advertised as a huge feature of this gun, as a low bore axis. Shooting it is just a 9mm, and it does have a smooth, soft recoil impulse. In my opinion, I didn't think shooting it was difficult at all, but that being said, the bore axis I didn't feel was anything super special. I gave that one a score of an 8. Pretty solid. Could obviously be lower, you know, we can always improve on that feature. Sights, these, this tritium front with the like kind of neon yellow circle and the U dot in the rear. I don't like these kinds of sights. I think they're too big. Granted, this is marketed as a duty gun, so you know, there's some logic to why they chose these ones. You can get the 3-dot tritium, but still, it's not really what I want. I want a fiber optic front, blacked out rear, something with a thin front sight post. This one's just kind of big. Granted, I still shot that B8 well, scored 100 at 10 yards, and I was able just to stack rounds. Point of impact was a little high, but it's not a big deal. You can get through that with training, or even just a couple mags shooting through it. So sights is getting a score of a 7. Aftermarket support, this is where this gun, just because of how new it is, kind of struggled. It's only getting a score of a 5 for aftermarket support because there's literally nothing out there yet. I expect very soon to have a lot of upgrades and different options. So if we were reviewing this in a year from now, that score would probably be different. But for now, there's literally nothing. You can get like a barrel and more mags, but that's pretty much it. Hopefully they will have some mag wells there, some better triggers, some better controls, sights, all those things soon. But just at the time of filming this, there's not really anything out there yet. I could have scored that lower, but I feel like it's inevitable that there will be a lot of support down the road. So it's getting a 5. Round capacity, also getting a 7. It's pretty standard with the 17+1. I do like that it does come with an extended mag, 20+1. But again, it only comes with 2 mags, so it's just normal, you know. Serviceability, this goes along with aftermarket support. There's not a whole lot out there for this gun because it's brand new, so if you needed to replace parts, if something broke, you'd have a hard time finding those. But taking it down is just like any other modern striker-fired polymer pistol. It's super easy. You just pull a slide back, rotate this lever, you can see it here, rotate this lever there, send the slide home, and it just comes down. And then to get that central operating group, I believe is what they call it, you just have one punch to remove there. And then barrel, recoil, spring, all that good stuff is pretty standard. So serviceability is getting a 6. Value, okay, value, I'm scoring this a 7 for value. It comes with some cool stuff, and a lot of what is helping the value is the back straps and this optic system, the ability to throw on nearly any optic you want just right out of the box, and having some back strap options. But you're not getting very many mags, you're not getting a mag well, you're not getting a whole lot other than that. So that is getting a 7. How this gun came, it would have scored higher, but I don't believe these will be available to the general public. I believe this was just kind of the launch edition package, but it did come with a cool Safariland holster and came with an additional grip. So that was cool that this came with that, and it came with RMR and the light, but I don't think you'll be able to really buy it like this with this package. I think this was kind of for all those influencers out there and this kind of launch production thing. But it was cool how it came with this nice box and everything ready to go. If that were the case, it would have scored a lot higher. But still no magwell and only 2 magazines. So what's with that, Springfield? Finally, our last scoring category. Cool factor. So I tried to come at this completely unbiased. I've never owned a Springfield, and I tried to just eliminate any pros or cons from the brand name when thinking about this. And I just wanted to look at it for how it's shot, how it looks, you know, all things considered, everything that I would consider cool with this gun. And my initial thoughts is it's just another Beretta APX. Some might hate that idea, but if you look at it, maybe we'll show a picture of a Beretta APX. It's very similar. And I believe that is largely just the design and the slide serrations, but it's still getting a 7. I shot well with it. It doesn't look terrible. The trigger looks cool. It is just black. I would like a tan or FD or Coyote option with that. I would also like magwells. That would, all these things would increase the cool factor for me. But as it stands right now, that is getting a score of a 7 for a total score of 70. 70 out of 100. And that actually ties our 6th place Glock 19 Gen 5. And this is all just subjected to what we think here and to how I feel about this gun right now. It would have scored better had we had more aftermarket support for it. But as it stands, this is getting a 70. I was pleasantly surprised with it though. Not a bad gun at all. I think it has potentially been a little bit overhyped with this massive launch that we saw on social media, but it's cool. There's a lot of really cool things about it. So take that for what it's worth and let us know how you feel about the new Springfield Echelon. If you've put rounds through it, if you've been able to handle it, let us know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, let us know if there are other guns that we should add to our list to review. We can't, unfortunately, review all of the guns that you guys are requesting. Some of them we don't have available to us, but we are slowly trying to work through that list. Every other week, we will be putting out a Monday Gunday video, so drop it in the comments. As always, stay safe, stay strapped, carry our holsters, and like, subscribe. We'll catch you next time.